My name is Sarah WiSER. I'm a teaching assistant and a master's student at Khalifa University in Abu Dhabi. I have one remark and a question. The remark is about the quotas. I think maybe for the next 20 years or 30 years it would be good for empowering women. But then would it stop women in the future from being competitive? Or would it stop the women from actually earning their place and not just being there to fill a number? And my question is regarding the statistics that you mentioned in the panel before about the disappointing numbers of women in specific fields. It could be well because of stereotypes that are stopping young girls from pursuing careers in specific fields. So what is one stereotype that may have faced you and you broke it, or a stereotype that you observe in the media and that you absolutely hate and despise, that you can share with us? Thank you.
So that question, that the one stereotype, I'm hesitating.
Okay, so what do you think?
Yeah.
Do you have a stereotype that either you really despise or one that you personally see them trying to shatter?
It's a tough question. Maybe during the dinner we can answer that question.
Oh, right, someone here has got a question and has made a point.
I would like to answer.
Oh, yes. Well, you will be speaking quite later on, but you can by all means.
And that quotas, well, before no one is...
Dr. Noel, come on. What's your...
Okay, I'm just going to say that one stereotype that we are breaking is by having you guys here. Because every time we travel, we have a lot of people stereotyping the Middle East, that women is being suppressed and women is being discriminated against. And people like Dr. Bahja, people like Sensei Hashmi, and Dalia here and many other women. We go to all these conferences, and in many, many cases, we as women, we are the only woman on the table. Sometimes we are the only Arab person on the table. So it's not only the only Arab woman, but the only Arab person. So you guys need to be very proud of what your government is doing for you, because we are breaking a lot of stereotypes.
I thought about one stereotype, and the one stereotype is about the leadership style of women. What tends to be seen for men as being thoughtful and decisive can be seen for women as being aggressive and all the like. So those are things which I call stereotypes. So very much it's around a leadership style, which what is seen as a quality, if a man can become immediately something which is negative when seen as a woman. And that's something where women have to pay a lot of attention. It's a fine balance to be, I would say, assertive, not aggressive, neither submissive. And back to the second question, sorry, I may be slow. You said, will quotas prevent women from being competitive? I don't believe that, because women tend to be very good, I would say, students, too often, too long in the way they behave in the corporate world. They tend to be very perfectionist, so I don't see that.
Got any stereotypes? You want to smash?
Yes. I think women always try to play the man, being a man in a boardroom, feeling that this is an environment, the rules of the games are being set by men, and therefore she needs to go out of her nature to prove that she is a colleague and a team player. However, the stereotype is that they try to go outside of their nature to prove to the men with them that they are capable of handling the job. This sometimes might not work in their advantage, because it's a thin line between being yourself, being assertive, show your leadership style, and at the same time being able to be part of that team and play it within the rules of the group that has been established.
We're talking in this discussion about gender imbalances and how they're corrected, but do you think in a sense in our own assumptions we might also be guilty at times of stereotyping? Is there a standard recognizable form of female behavior in a company and a standard recognizable form of male behavior in a company? Or is the fact that given equal opportunities, perhaps people would react more to, in a way, dictated by their own personalities and experience, rather than by what is perceived as the influence of their own gender?
I think there is sometimes, first of all, for me, the biggest bias about gender is believing that we are not biased, we are all biased. So if we start by recognizing this, that's a very good beginning. Second, I see, and you see that with children. I have 3 children. When they were young, sometimes there are a lot of fear about the unknown, and sometimes this is why I was mentioning we need to be bilingual. I need to better understand and be myself in the shoes of men, and men have to understand and be better in the shoes of women, I would say. So that's, for me, is very important. We need to be more bilingual.
I think to be socially intelligent would help both genders in trying to understand how they believe and how they interact with each other. We are pulling men outside of their comfort zone when we bring a female in the boardroom where behaves differently, thinks differently, and likes to be perceived differently against men who are kind of those kind of big boy club of being together and knowing. So we are creating that outside of both genders' comfort zone, and for each of them to understand and be social intelligence would go a long way.
We'll take one more question and then we will move on to the next subject. We take too much on the right side of the room, my right. So, woman here with her hand up. Because we'll do 1 and 2 then. I'm a very weak chairman. We'll have one question there, one there.
Thank you, Chairman. My name is Ethno Trainer, and a lot of some of the young ladies in the room, perhaps we all need to look back to see why we're here today and look back at the work that has been done. Now, I haven't been around as long as the suffragettes, but there's been an awful lot of great work done by women when they could not be in the workforce and when they had no opportunities at all. I come from Ireland, a pretty civilized country, and when my mother got married, she had to give up her job. I mean, that was the time then, and there was no choice. So there's been an awful lot of work done in the past where women have fought, and they've actually, really put an awful lot of effort into getting us all, where we are today. So that discussion is over. We all are entitled to get jobs, and we're all on somewhat level playing field when it comes to competing against men in the workforce. But when it comes to the senior leadership roles, I think this is now our new challenge, and this is where companies need to encourage a lot more women to be involved. So be it on a quota level, whatever it is, we're not out marching on the streets to get to that level now, but I think we would all welcome, whatever support it is that gets us, on a level playing field, and then we can prove ourselves. But a lot of that, would you think, on the leadership role, is still there's an awful lot of work to do to get more women in there, particularly in terms of succession planning for companies as well.
Thank you. And the point that you wanted to make here? Wait for the microphone, it's just hurtling towards you.
First of all, I think, I'm sorry I don't remember your name, but this young lady over here is an incredible inspiration. She is the inspiration for my question. And how do we think this millennials will shift this subject? And I think it's going to be a huge change when we meet again in 10 years.
That's a good last word on this particular part of the afternoon, I think. So you start, Dr.
I think the road to excellence and for how much we can achieve has no end to it. And we need all of us to pave the way for the new generations to come, and they can take it further and further. I think we all need to create those support systems where women can support each other. We need to talk about our issues. Many times women go through difficulties and challenges and they don't share with anybody, thinking of being perceived differently or being under the stereotype, oh, she has family to attend to, her time doesn't allow her to do this and that. So the more we create that support mechanism, women themselves develop the self-confidence in themselves that they are capable of doing it equally and they are integral part. They are not in competition with their male colleagues as more as they are integral part of things. I think we're going to go forward and pave the way for the young generations to continue the way.
Yeah, last word from you. How's it going to change?
I think millennials are fantastic because they want us to have a sense of purpose. That's very important for them, and I think that's the key message. Second, they have little respect for authority if it's only authority. They have respect for competence, and that's very important. Those two things, and they are tremendously passionate about feedback, teamwork, and this is the world of the future.
Well, it's been a fascinating session with you two.